Okay, I'm now recording. So, well, let's open it up for this question and answer session. So let's open it up for some questions.
I'm just starting, so
Okay.
I would have 20 million. So I'm waiting for answers.
Well, Imelda was talking about some of the stuff with Ingram Spark, and I know I haven't actually used the Amazon printing, the KDP. And I know there are some people that warn, because if you do actually want to put out a book and have it published, it needs this ISBN number and stuff. Well, with KDP, they will, if you go out through them, they will provide it for you free of charge, but you're locked into you can only use them to distribute that book from then on. You can't take it elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it does cost, I don't know, it's about 100, I don't know, somewhere I think it says like $125 to get an ISBN number.
Mm-hmm.
Or something along those lines. But that's where like other sites have an advantage, and some bookstores actually do not like dealing with Amazon, so and libraries and such. So
but isn't KDP just for its distribution, isn't it? So if you've got any privacy issues with your book, you wouldn't want it public. Like I've got living people in my book, so I only want to be able to distribute it to people in the family, not to a public audience. So you have to be careful about that as well.
yeah, this would be more if you would want it for a broader audience, like say if you were limiting, if you were doing a book, but say you're cutting it off, say at your grandparents or something, people that are already deceased, or else you would privatize anyone that might still be living at the time of publication.
Yeah. The other issue I had with Ingram Spark was that if you didn't have an ISBN, you could get something that's called an SKU, which relates to stock distribution. So
Yep.
it's like it's like a stock take, which I'd never heard of before. But to me, that seemed silly to have, because you're not a business. You're not trying to control your stock. So an ISBN is for a totally different purpose. It's, for libraries around the world and doing your legal deposit with you. I don't know if you have to in America do your legal deposit. In Australia, once you publish something, you have to deposit it with the National Library and also your state library.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd have to check to see what the actual laws are, but yeah, I haven't looked into it because I don't have those ambitions.
I think the ISBN in the United States would cause a copy to go to the Library of Congress.
Okay.
That's similar to what you said, Imelda.
Yeah.
And the SKU, I think, is the barcode you see on everything you buy. There's a barcode on it, and that's what the SKU is.
No.
No, the ISBN is a barcode as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because it has the I'll just show you this one, which I did. Oh, hang on, if I can get the right spot on the camera. Sorry, wrong way around.
Yeah.
So there we go.
There you go. Yeah.
So that was an ISBN that sorry, it's not focusing too well, but that was an ISBN I bought. I bought a group of 10 of them about 4 years ago, so that I've just got them if ever I printed anything else. And then you just generate a free, so you get the number and then you go to a free barcode generator and you then put that onto your book.
Mm-hmm.
So John, there was a question on the Facebook group about page numbering, and I can show maybe how that works a little bit. And I hadn't thought about it much at all until this person asked this question of why does my book start on page 20 instead of starting on page 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you want to share your screen or?
Yeah, let's see how this works. Be gentle with me. You'll have to share that, I guess, somehow.
Well,
tell me, give me
I think you have to request it.
Oh,
At the
really?
bottom of the screen, there should be a green icon that says share.
Yeah, what it says is host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh,
John, make James a co-host and then he should be
Here.
able to use it.
Oh, there it is.
yeah.
Now, I don't know exactly what this is showing yet.
Okay, yeah, we see,
Are you seeing my full screen?
yeah, because we see it looks like the Word document plus your Family Tree Maker plus your the Family Book Creator. So
Okay, so here I'll show an example of the page numbering and different ways of showing it. The Word document on my left, you can see that the introduction starts on page 9. And then the actual book doesn't start until page 11. And these are, I believe, the default settings for the page numbering through the introductory pages and that. Then in the one to the right, my right, you can see the introduction starts on page 1. I can show you where you can set that setting if that numbering bothers you that the introduction is page 9. But when you look at it, the Roman numerals, are part of the page numbering for the default settings. And so to change this, you can see here at introduction, you can see I have Arabic numerals and then restart at page 1. Now the default for that, I think, is to be continuously, and it runs from the previous page, like the table of contents. Here I have Roman numerals and continuous from the previous section. The forward is Roman numerals continuously. And you can see how these different sections show how you want to show the page numbers. So if you don't like your book starting at page 9 or 11 or those sorts of things, you can tell it here to restart at a page number and have your introductory pages not included in the the numbering system. So it does make your book a little bit shorter, or appears to be a little bit shorter, but it's really not. So now that I've discovered that, I want my introduction to be the starting page.
yep.
Okay, so that's that's that tip.
Yeah. I think you can just say stop screen sharing or here.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah. And then I haven't done any real good examples, but of anyone used any of the some of the newer features in the 2019 for using the handle story as text. I've done a couple where all of a sudden you can start using the you can start printing like Word documents in them. And the neat thing now is that if I'm starting to build them, I haven't got any right now, but if you've got any Word documents that maybe don't pertain to a particular person, but rather maybe a family business, for instance. Oh, let me close Family Book Creator here. Let's see. Oh no, not this ancestor. I've got this. This one document here I found on the founding of this township, in which my third great grandfather here, well, here they had his name spelled Adolf Fassbinder. They basically followed this Father Adalberg to it. Came to this town. I can, well, right now I've got this just as handle story as image, but I can create this as handle story as text. And then I could also say, if this was, say, pertaining to, say, a family business or pertaining to more than one family member, I could also have it like print before or after the family tree chart. So on this, it could either print before or right after this family tree right here. After here, so, and now, no, I just think that's a really neat new feature. So I haven't really utilized it yet, but other than just playing with it, but it is a neat feature. So
what is the feature? It's basically allows you to include a Word document at a specific spot in your main document.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
You can either add it in with the media, because right now, like, because right now before you could only print pictures or like PDF files.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you can print the HTML files, the doc files, RTF, heck, probably even text files. I'd probably have to, well, you can read the manual that actually has it.
I've done some Word files, mostly as tests, but it works really nice.
Yeah.
How it includes it into the document.
And then it's, yeah, because it will, by default, it will strip out like the margins and everything. But you can even tell it, say, hey, no, I want to keep those margins and sections and everything else like that. So not as test.
Is there a way? I'm a new rookie to this stuff. Is there a way to include a JPEG file in a similar manner?
You could always include it into a document file.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Here are the file formats. Yeah, the rich text format, docx, ODT, the OpenText, the Family Tree Maker Smart Story, or the PDF. So those are the file formats. So
So anything we have is JPEG, we have to convert it to.
No, that would only be if you would want to say, let me close this. That would only be if you would want to include it before or after that family tree chart. That's the only reason why you'd need to it.
there-
Otherwise, all media prints down in the media gallery. Hang on here, come here.
The
You know,
context.
'cause all the media prints down here.
Mhm.
You know, you're not limited to just that. And you can even do full page PDF documents, have them print full page. So if you've got a story,
Oh,
that works out well. I've done that on a few occasions where there's a nifty story given to it. Maybe it's 2-3 pages about the story of someone's life.
mhm.
And then I just tell it to print, and that's documented in the manual how to do it, but essentially any PDF files, I just tell it, you know, you just tell it handle story as image. By default, any PDF file, well, this is only a 1-page PDF file, but say if this was, say, a 20-page PDF file, it would say like page 1 of 20. By default, it will only print the first 5 pages
Mhm.
of a PDF. So here you could say, okay, I'm not seeing them.
Right, you're just about 3 up. There you go. There's include all pages.
Yeah, you can tell it to include all pages or include only the first page if that is. Yeah. Yeah, I just lost track of what I was trying to do. Yeah, you can tell it to include all pages. And then you can also do with graphics now. I'm playing with the file size. You can say, okay, also print full width. So if it's like an 8.5 by 11, or for anyone not on US using the A4, you know, that uses the A4 or the metric system, you know, then it will just print the full page documents. So
So a useful item of this is, like, I had probate records that were all JPEG images from Ancestry. And then I would combine them into one PDF file. But before this option, I'd have to include those images individually into the book, versus I can now just put the PDF file and include it that way as an option.
Mhm.
right. As a matter of fact, I did do that because you can see there's like 41 images. There's the separate images, but I've also got, yeah, right here I've got, yeah, this will here. And yeah, it's a 29-page will. And so where I did combine them all into one.
So if you're using Ancestry's, the will section where they have images, frequently they're only going to give you the first image, and there may be many other images associated with that document. So you could do the web merge, get the initial image, and then go to the film strip viewer and then pick up the additional images.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then likewise, you can go either go down here to like to the yeah, to the probate here, and then, you know, tack on these additional media items. That's what I did here.
So
There-
frequently Ancestry just gives you the one image and not
Right.
the other ones.
Yeah, and I downloaded the 28 and then added them onto the probate record. So And it actually kind of came onto the death because in 1886, the only reason I even found out his death record was from the will, from the statement in the will,
Yeah.
where it said, you know, he died on such and such a date.
Yeah.
That's the only record. I mean, I have not even found out where he's buried yet.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably buried somewhere on the family farm. So there probably isn't even a gravestone. So, but at that time, in Wisconsin, you know, death records were not mandatory. One of these days, I'll probably be going down to the Wisconsin Historical Society to look at, because I did check out it as a clue in the will where these notices for the probate, you know, hey, you know, settling any debts for, you know, Adolf. Well, it was printed in this one paper that's all in German. That's in Madison, Wisconsin. So it's like, okay, well, well, I have to go to the Wisconsin State Historical Society to look at it. It's not, I haven't found it online, and hopefully I have my laptop handy with a good translator app, and so, but anyway.
Thank goodness for Google Translator.
Yeah, well, I've got them on my phone, including the offline files, and so.
So going back to this earlier item, John, this handle PDF files as an image, that's new with this update, is that correct?
That's new with 2019.
Ah, okay.
If you still have 2017, that does not apply.
Okay.
Now, in the Family Book Creator group, there is this FBC media categories text in the file section.
Yeah.
And I do that just so I can copy and paste these to things. These are the ones that are active to Family Book Creator 2019 only.
Okay. And back to my JPEG question. So what I did this summer in preparation for Family Union, I used Family Book Creator to create this thing, and I had some pic photos from 2017 that I wanted to include in the back, and they were JPEG. So not knowing what to do, I just created a Word document, included that output from Family Book Creator Word document, and then included those JPEGs in the back where I wanted them.
Yeah.
But what you're saying, I think what you're saying, I could, with this new thing, if I understood it now, is I could take the JPEG pictures, make them a PDF, and do this, essentially the same thing without having to create a Word document.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
John, you might want to explain to the new people that you have to add those categories.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Family Tree Maker.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean about that. Yeah, I'm familiar with that concept. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that, you know, you go here and here, you go edit. Go under the media category.
Yeah.
Yeah, let it. Yeah, this tree's got lots of media. Yeah, you go categories, media. Well, I mean, I've already added them, but you just say add media category.
Yeah.
Say the category, and like I said, I just say copy and then paste, and then, well, right now that's saying red because it's already there, but you just hit OK, and then it adds it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's best to do the copy and paste because you might have noticed one conversation where there was just one yeah, what was it, a period, John, at the end?
Oh,
of the
yeah, so, someone
category
was
name?
trying to do a document and they had this handle story as text, but they had a period at the end of that text. So
Work.
they had the period like that. Well, guess what? Family Book Creator no longer recognized that media category.
Mm,
Fortunately, it's an easy fix, you know, because all you gotta do is edit it and voila, you know.
Once you find it.
Yeah, once you find it. But like I said, those little typos and like I said, I've got like a 3.5-year-old laptop, and it's like it's getting to the point I've got to open up this thing and like clean my keyboard because I know my keyboard is starting to do some funny things where it's starting to stick. And
John, where did you get your list of categories to begin with?
I manually built that, and basically I just grabbed it from the manuals.
Okay.
And that's the ultimate place to get those is to open the manual and copy and paste from the PDF file.
Yeah.
It would be nice if that list appeared on Facebook where we could copy it.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
It is
Yeah.
in John's group.
Well, this list is. It's on. Let me go here to Facebook. Because it's in the Family Book Creator group
Okay.
under files. And it's, nope, it's not there. It's right here, this file.
Oh, great.
So you can download it.
You bet I will.
And then I update it periodically because, well, I just updated it because on because there are these last 4 media categories, these new page, even page, odd page, continuous, these are not in the manual yet.
Hmm.
But there are, if you go under the change history from build, okay, 586. 586 is the latest build right now. 584, they're listed right there.
Okay.
So once I saw those and it got released, oh, and well, maybe that keep sections was already in there. I added those to the category.
Okay, super.
So besides the manual, this is kind of a neat thing just to check, just to see like some of this new stuff that may be changing and stuff. But, and like look for the word like enhancement and stuff. So one of the new categories I do like is this color coding legend. Because let me just show you on this, because I typically color code like the descendants of the grandparents. Let me just get this a little bigger. Where I typically do descendants books.
Mhm.
And so I color code the children. And then, so typically I just assign the colors, and now it will, now it always, now it will always display the colors in this order: red, orange, yellow, green, the cyan, blue, purple, that magenta, pink. It will always display them in that order. So that's how I assign them to the kids, to the children,
Mhm.
in that order. Just because I like the kids to be listed in order. But now, so that works good, but you know, you've only got eight colors. So if, as long as you don't have more than 8 families lines you're following, it's good. Now, but that's now where this color coding, well, here, let me just go back to this. Because to put in that color coding, to put in this color coding, all this text right there, I got that in the forward. That's just using that statement right there.
Hmm.
Mhm.
That does it. But, okay, now, whoops. Let me go to, I've got to close Family Book Creator here. Let me go to my grandmother, who is the,
You got a period there.
yeah. Now let me go to my grandma here, right here. She's the oldest of 11 children. And they've all got kids. So what I wind up doing is I assign a 2-color coding system. I create 2 name filters. Let me just go. And all these are is like, it's the descendants of them. And then it's like I grabbed 2 for most of them. Helen has the most kids, so I only did 1 of her. 2 for Louise, Mildred. There's only 2 boys, DeWitt and Henry. Maydeen, Laura, Lily, Alice, Evelyn, and then, no, that was it. So there's 9 girls, 2 boys. So what I do is I clear the color coding. And go, okay, so Helen gets the single, I call that pink. DeWitt gets blue. Amory gets the cyan. Now all the other girls, the first color gets the pink. Whoops. And then down here, then now I just start going down the line. Pink, pink, red, pink, orange, pink, yellow, pink, green, pink, cyan, pink, blue, pink, purple. Now you'd think I could do pink, pink, but I actually can't. And I'll show you why. Because here I'll do pink, pink. Let me pick on Evelyn. No. Guess what? Only pink shows up. Because I can't display 2 of the same colors. So I have to change my things for Evelyn here. So I change her up. Okay, I make her red, orange. Okay, but so now there, my grandma's pink, red. Helen's just pink, and pink, orange, pink, yellow. Okay, so now if I did the standard color coding, well, here, let's just show you what it would look like. It's gonna look a mess, basically, because it's just gonna show those lists. But what you can do is you can create your own Word document. And what I did is I just created a list, and basically I just made my own color coding list. And I copied and pasted the color dots. So,
John, when you print that in FBC, will those color dots come out on the charts, will they?
yeah, yes, because, okay, I created this Word document, and I made a private chart, and what you do, and this is where that media category comes into. It's assigned to FBC color coding legend. So now, since this is attached to my great grandpa, this is who I'm doing the book for. Now when it sees that color coding legend, now when it sees this, rather than going through and it generating it, it sees, oh, I've got this file here. It will just automatically bring in that file and use that instead of generating its own.
Good.
So, because that's just one thing Stefan realized, that the color coding legend is a neat feature, but he did realize that it's not going to work for everyone for all situations.
Yeah. I found when I did the color coding, what I did is, like, when I printed the chart, I mean, each of the people have got their color code. But when I transferred it into the desktop publishing, the dots didn't come across. They just came up as outline squares. They weren't filled in at all.
Yeah.
And because my index doesn't, the system that I use, I never know how to pronounce it, the Darvel, I can't remember the name of it. It doesn't, because the headings and the styles are not numbered, no one in the index is numbered, and they've just got dots next to them. And so what I did was I actually color coded the index. I can show you if you want. And then I background colored each of the charts and did it that way. So that I've got 6 families in the book, and I've allocated a color to each of them. I've got the document up if you want me to show you at all what I'm talking about.
Sure. Here, I'll just stop sharing for a second. Yeah, if you want to share your screen.
Sure. I'll bring it over. Oops. Oh, that's not going full screen. Hold on. So my index has no numbering next to any of these names because of the choices that I took. So I color coded, I background colored each of the charts, each of the families, because some are very small, like that one's only 2 people in it.
Oh, okay.
And this one goes on forever. That's my line.
Would you have that go by families? Generated.
Yeah. So with my starting chart, I've got color coded for each of the 6 families, but they don't show up too well. So I color coded because the individual people. So the numbering is down here with the 1.1, not up here with the name of the person.
Okay.
So what I've done is, and then the next person will be 1.1.1. And that's just the numbering system I like, but that doesn't transfer into the index, the table of contents, sorry. So I background colored the charts to match the index so that when someone goes looking in the book, they go, okay, I'm in the green section and I can go straight down to the green section down here.
Yeah.
You see, and I just did it that way because the when they transposed, the little dots, you can see the little dots there, only came out as outline squares, not coloured in. And I thought that wouldn't be very visual for people. So I background coloured this was in Word, I just background coloured the chart and then background coloured the table of contents to match, so that you can just sort of sit there, because I find these dots a bit hard to work out. That might be child
I know
number
you
6.
can adjust the size of them.
The size of what? Sorry, because
For those colored
I would like.
dots.
Oh yeah, but I would like them numbered, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
So
okay.
like.
Oh,
so like, for
you're
instance,
talking on the index.
Yeah, I'm talking on the index, which is why I coloured the index and then coloured the respective chart to match.
Yeah.
So there's all the green. There's all the green people, the green family. So that's just another tip that I've done with my book. So there's a blue family and so they match the colours in Family Tree Maker, but they just weren't transposing, and because the index isn't numbered. Like, I know that Bridget is, the 4th child, but there's no numbering to say that she's number 4. So I just coloured all of her family pink and all of Michael's family orange and did it like that. So I just visually, when you've got this many people in a tree, I just thought that might be helpful for my family members to sit there, because there's a lot of repetition in our family of Thomases and Marks and Marys and Jameses and things. They're not very inventive with names, So that's just what I did. I don't know if that helps anyone as well. So I'm still using the colour coding in Family Tree Maker like you're doing, but I didn't do the sub colours. I just did the 6 main colours for the 6 starting families. And then the tree will, so the starting person, if I get back to the starting person, here, so the 6 children each have a colour. And then when I dive off into their individual families, I background coloured the chart to match the index, because that's also the colour I've used. Like, I've used yellow in Family Tree Maker.
Yeah.
So, but that's just something to be aware of as well, that sometimes the dots, like in Word, they came up as dots, but then when I had to put them into the desktop publishing program, they didn't transpose. So I thought, oh, well, I'll just do that, because a little yellow square box not filled in on a white background is not going to be, very clear. So that's just a tip that I did for people, to see if it helps people. And did it that way. The next crowd in, and the next crowd of blue.
Yeah.
That's family number 2. So anyway, I'll take that off screen sharing, and if I can, stop share.
Yeah, it should be at the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that was something was your desktop publishing on a different computer by chance?
No, it's all the same computer, but
okay.
I stopped using InDesign years ago because it was just getting too expensive, because they're only monthly subscription based.
Yeah.
And so I bought the Affinity products, which are only about $80 Australian, complete, like that's all you pay. There's no subscription, you just buy it outright. So, and Affinity basically looks much the same as InDesign. So they have the full range of publishing and Photoshop and Illustrator, but they just call them different things. Yeah. So that I've done that in Affinity, and then I just export it into a PDF so that I can send it to the printer.
Now, one thing we mentioned in the previous meeting was the 2016 and 2019 versions of Word can handle documents greater than 512 megabytes. So the use of subdocuments isn't needed if you're using these newer versions of Word. And I've made some documents that are about 3 gigabyte in Word that function fine. That used to have to be a subdocument.
Okay.
So if your documents get too big, and the images will be the main cause why they get too big, the 2016, 2019 versions of Word can handle larger file sizes now.
I used 2016, and I haven't had an issue, but I do have an issue with, I just need more RAM on my computer. It's a bit too slow sometimes. I wanted to throw it out last week and go and buy a new one.
Don, do you have the user's manual open?
Yeah.
Could you look at page 55, share page 55 with us for a second? I have a question there.
Okay, let me, okay, here's page 55.
Stop right there. The paragraph you've got at the top of the page. There, let's see, right above where it says index of individuals, where it says just in case. The second sentence of that paragraph says the index of places area, if disabled in a case of word processor format like docx, which is Microsoft Word,
Yeah,
is selected as output, then in that case, index of places is disabled, oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, it's all right. So I'm sorry. It says that index of places is disabled if you're using Word, and it's enabled when I'm using PDF.
If you use OpenOffice, then the index of places is disabled.
yeah,
I'm sorry. Say that again.
If you are using OpenOffice,
Oh,
then
only if it's OpenOffice.
it's disabled.
Okay.
I was going to say, because I've got an index in
Yeah.
my Word, 2016, it worked fine.
yeah, because, yeah, that's just a limitation of OpenOffice where it can only have like one index.
So if I don't have OpenOffice, which I don't, I could just ignore that paragraph.
Yes,
I'm very happy now. Thank you.
yeah. One thing when we were talking about the color coding is if you only want to print in black and white, you can, you don't have to use the colored dots. You can use like letters, digits, geometric symbols, flowers, chess symbols. And then here's where you can specify the size. And then you do not have to use, no, you could use circle digits and then you don't have to use color at all. So then it'd keep it black and white. So you wouldn't have to be limited to printing it in color and still using it. And this would give like an example of what some of the symbols look like rather than in color. So I mean, so that's just another option you've got.
That's within the chart, not in the index.
That should be in the index too.
Well, that would be in the index and the chart.
Oh, okay. So like where mine are all just dots in the index. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, yeah, because what they'll first start showing up here is in the family tree chart.
Yeah.
Up here, and then down here and the index of places, index of individuals. So
just going back to the index there, John, if I had changed the shape, my 6 families would be a different shape in front of each name. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay. Oh, that would have been good to know. That's okay.
Yeah, that'd be something, just to sit and play with, because because it's like I've looked at doing either the digits, or I don't know, I think I think I'd either use geometric symbols or maybe the triangles.
Yeah. I hadn't thought of using different shapes in colors, and I didn't realize that then transposed to the actual index. So that would have or rather than colouring each family, I could have just used a different shape
Yeah.
in front of the index. But that's okay. I mean, I've done it
Which
now.
would be
That's fine.
important
You
if
know,
you're trying to use black and white and save money.
yeah. Because, well, yeah, if you look at printing, I mean, as soon as I mention color, I mean, the price just jumps up. I mean, you can get a black and white copy for, you know, depending in quantity, you know, for a few cents a page, you know. You want color, all of a sudden you go to a place, a typical place, and say, okay, 49 cents a page, you know, rather than, you know, maybe 10 cents a page, you know.
But what I found on the online site, you only had the choice of black and white or colour, whereas going to the printer now, they'll
Yeah.
divide the book. So out of my 510 pages, I've got 129 that are black and white. So
Yeah,
they've quoted me for the black and white pages and for the colour pages,
yeah,
and they'll put it together that way and bring the cost down. So I'm still getting the family photos in there that are colour,
yeah.
which is really nice. Yeah. But
Yeah,
yes,
it's nice
colour's quite
working with
expensive.
it's nice being able to work with a company that'll do that for you. So
Yeah, and they'll give you a proof first, whereas the online companies, you have to buy a proof and everything. So
yeah,
it's worth shopping around.
yeah.
Hey, this is Ramona. I've got 2 questions. I hope they're real easy. I'm brand new to this, so hopefully something I can do easily. I'm trying to do a descendant book for my great-grandmother, and I have stories from various family members, you know, about her and about other people. And I was trying to figure out, how do I get that in the index? You know, I don't have, you know, if Aunt Mary said such and such about, you know, great grandmother, I don't have Aunt Mary's name listed as a source on every story. So I'll have to do that manually to just add so that she'll know something about her is on page, you know, 59 or whatever. Or is there
Well,
a smarter way to do that?
well, you could, if say it's a story, so it's like it's a story from her.
Yes.
So, well, what you can do is, so like you've attached these stories to these people, but they're from her. You could actually attach the story to both the person the story is about and to her, and
Okay.
then in the media section, usually you have the avoid duplicates,
Right.
and then assuming, you know, these are all people that are going to be showing up before her in the book,
Mm-hmm.
those stories will print with her, and then, you know, then there'll just be a reference about saying, well, there's also like media C figure such and such on page 98, and
Okay.
you know,
I've got some of them are in there as stories, some of them are in there as facts, comments. That, you know, I've got a variety of ways
yeah.
that I'd enter those.
I mean, sometimes if they're just stories, I just also just put in there, you know, at the end, you know, basically just a statement as told by so and so.
Right. Yeah. But I'm thinking, because my book is over 500 pages so far, and I feel like, you know, people are probably not going to read the whole 500 pages from beginning to end. They're going to go to the index and say, where's something that I said or did? Where's my name mentioned?
Yeah.
And then go back and read, you know, those parts. So that's why I was trying to get it in the index so they know it's a, you know, it's some picture of them with a group that's not necessarily, you know, under their little section, you know, that they're somewhere else as
So you're
well.
almost wanting a media index.
Yeah.
You can include persons mentioned in media in the name index, I believe. It'll show the links of what page that person is mentioned, even in media or in the trees or wherever they're mentioned. That makes the name index much longer with a lot more numbers with their name associated. But if they're in a tree, it's going to be mentioned what page number. If they're in a media item, it's mentioned, in that index.
Okay, and that's the option that I pick.
Yeah, that's this
Item.
option right here, like include references to media items.
Oh, okay.
What that does is make your index much larger,
Yeah.
and then also it'll bolderize where the person is, their main page is in bold, and then the other references are not boulderized, and those are other places you can find that person mentioned.
Oh, okay. Good.
So John might have some examples.
Yeah, because, well, like here you can see, like names like, okay, they're mentioned like 368, but then they're bolded 369. So this is where their real information is.
Okay.
They're mentioned here on 242, 243, but this person here's where their like real info is.
Okay. All right.
There's the meat and potatoes of their info. Here's just kind of their mentioned,
All right, I got it. I think
So-
that'll work. And then I've got one other question real quick, and it's probably something that I'm doing, but when on all of my individuals, it starts out with, Joe Blow born this day to these parents. Then the next paragraph is he died on this day, and then the third paragraph talks about what happened in between those two paragraphs. And I wonder if it's something that I can do so we don't abruptly just kill him off in the second paragraph, that, they get to know him a little bit before he dies, later at the end. Is it something I'm doing wrong that's causing that, or is that just the way it works?
The question is, sorry to interrupt you. The question is, what date did you record for the death? Is it just a year?
No, well, it varies, but most of them I have like day, month, year for the death.
Yeah. And the next event is which kind of event?
Yeah, most all of them I get the birth information first. Then the second paragraph just says he died on, whatever date. And then it gives me like his education, occupation, all those other things come after the death paragraph.
Sounds funny. Maybe you recorded and the death information somewhere in a notes field. Is it possible that you can share your example?
Stefan, is it putting all the vital information in that first section?
No.
And then it's not.
It's putting the
Well, here I'll share one of mine. Like here's where here's my Adolf. I mean, here it's basically got the narrative. Here he's born. He emigrated. Then basically he died. Now here it's got, okay, here's like a note. But now here's like just some facts, that are in column format.
right.
Yeah,
and then it goes on to now here it goes on to the partner, his wife. So that's where the marriage information would come in.
And did you already pass the death information? Was that earlier or that?
Well, yeah, because basically here it was he immigrated, and then here he died.
Yeah. Okay.
And then his probate. So it's kind of like all the narrative information is first.
Okay.
So first the facts are sorted chronologically, and then you may see the fact note. right? Or not the fact note, the person note.
Uh-huh.
And if you have recorded something else in the person note, then it may look like it's not in order.
Right.
So it depends where the information comes from in a database.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because here's like basically, yeah, the birth, departure and arrival facts I don't print. Yeah, so residence I have as table. So then, yeah, so death and probate, that's all I really have for, this is my third great grandfather. And then, yeah, here's the note, so.
Like that note there, it mentions the date in there, but it's not in the date column. So where would that print after his death information?
This printed, this prints, yeah, right here, because this is the note itself.
Okay. Okay.
Because
Okay. Well,
this is my uncle, my dad's brother, and this is the day he gave me this information.
okay.
So.
So you might want to look at your data, and you might have something, you know, sitting there that's causing it to do what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I will. Thank you.
Yeah.
The other thing I noticed is where you put the photos too. So like you might want to put a photo with your grandfather, but the photo might be of your grandmother's family. So you need to change it over. It's just a matter of playing around with what order things go in as to where it comes out in your book.
Right, I've been doing that today because like this great grandmother was married 3 times, so I wanted the each of the other of her husbands, the picture to come out with that husband, not, you know, all of them just with her. So yeah, I've been moving things around.
Now, one
So
thing to
that
do
same
is
can apply.
start creating a book with just like one generation or one family and work with that until you get it the way you want it. And
Right.
to everybody you want.
Yeah, yeah.
I also made up a style sheet for the little idiosyncrasies that I want to change. Like I've chatted to Stefan about this, where it was if someone's partnered but the relationship is over and it still says that they're partnered. So I just changed those to was partnered rather than is partnered. So the little things like that, I make up a little style sheet to check those things, like, you know, go through and say, okay, they were partnered, they're no longer partnered, that sort of stuff.
Right.
I think there's also stuff that if you have the partner status set to say like ended or like none, stuff like that, the wording can reflect that.
Yeah, I played around with that a lot. It didn't do it all the times. Like, and as Stefan pointed out to me, like if the person's dead, it will say they were partnered.
Yeah.
But if they're still alive, it still says they are partnered, or they, you know, that sort of stuff. So it's just checking little things like that, because you can't know everything for everyone. So
yeah.
So I just wrote myself a little style sheet to check some of those.
Sorry to interrupt you, but what I mentioned initially was that you may use the status separated for the relationship. And you mentioned that the status separated would not be valid because this is only valid for people who had been married before.
No. No, what I mentioned, Stefan, was that separated, they can still be financially tied together. So like, for instance, in Australia, if you have a common law relationship, like if you've lived together for 6 months, it's legally binding. So if they split up, the relationship itself is over, but they may not have sorted out their finances. So technically they're still separated, but the relationship's not over. So they're not an ex-partner.
Yeah, but maybe this is just something you need to bring to attention to the Family Tree Maker team, that they are not the new relationship types we need today, right?
Yeah, well, actually, I hadn't thought of taking it to FTM, so yeah, I could do that. So it's because it was really helpful when you pointed out that I could use some of the wording that FBC had to recognize FTM wording and things like that, because I wasn't aware of that at the time with the individuals. So, but yeah, some of those statuses like partner and none, they made no difference what you put in, it just all came up the same. So. But yeah, it got quite technical for a while there. Stefan and I were trying to work out, what do you actually mean by, they're separated, but it's not over, but it's over, because they're just two different things. It's like in a marriage, if you're separated, it's technically still not over until you're divorced.
A relationship note where you explain exactly what you would like to say.
Yeah. So it also depends on how much information the relative gives me. So,
yeah.
It's like there's one or two older relatives who had children out of wedlock, and I'm not about to go asking, well, how was that? Was it actually a relationship, or was it just something that happened?
Yeah.
So you sort of have to be a little bit sensitive at times. It's like I don't even want to call them a partner, because it's like they may not have thought of them as a partner in the way we do these days.
Yeah.
But partner is the only word that will come up.
I guess there's always the other or unknown, but
No, it still comes up as partner.
Yeah,
In the chart. Yeah, so it still says partnered.
Sorry, Family Book Creator right now just distinguishes between spouse and something else. So if it's spouse, then they are married. If not, then they are partner.
Okay.
Yeah. But if they just happen to have a child out of wedlock because it was a fling or whatever it was, they probably don't want to think of them even as a partner.
What type of relationship would you select?
For something like that, I would probably just put other and have it show as other, because it's not really, in some situations, that's not really a relationship. Like if it was, I mean, we're talking about decades ago, back in the 40s or so. It could have been a one-night fling, or it could have been I hate to say it, but it could have been a rape. You don't know. And so even though the child is the product of that relationship and rightly is in the family tree, the parent may not want to think of it as a partner.
The child was conceived, so.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
Just said they were partners when the child was conceived.
Yeah, but it depends, I suppose, whether it was consensual or not. It's like sometimes there's closets in the family history and you don't want to open, or they don't want to open. They might not want to think of it as a partner. I know where you're coming from. So, from a technicality point of view, yes, they're a partner. But emotionally, they might not want to think of them as a partner, and therefore I would just put other.
Yeah, there's always things like that. It's like, well, on my grandmother's side, she was the oldest of 11. Well, there is one of them got pregnant. Well, I'm guessing they got pregnant first. She got married. Well, while she was pregnant, the guy got one of the other sisters pregnant.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
And then that wedding actually got annulled, and then he hightailed it to like Montana, and eventually I tracked him down to Wyoming, and he married some other gal, and so, but.
Wow.
Hey, I'm going to break out, and I want to thank you guys all very much. Have a great day.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks a lot,
Michael.
Nice seeing you, Michael. So,
Steve, do you want to ask your question about the addresses in the index of places?
Well, what I've been trying to do today is a small book. I just upgraded to 2019. And when I look at my index of places, initially I saw the problem where I had resolved the names and taken some parts of the address that really weren't part of the address. I'm trying to think of a good example. There might be street numbers that I don't really need in the address in the index of places, let's say. And so I couldn't figure out how to do that. And John did point me to the manual. When in doubt, read the manual, Steve. But when I cleared that option that says not to include the place details, I'm now getting an error message that says the index was out of the bounds of the array and blah, blah, blah. That happened this afternoon shortly before this call. So I'm going to play with it tomorrow with fewer people and try to figure out what's going on before I complain more.
In kind of any error message, please send me a screenshot of the error message and what you do.
Okay, terrific. Thank you.
To fix issues if I know how to reproduce them. So if there is a product issue, I have to fix the product issue.
Okay, thank you. Well, first I'll make sure it was an operator error.
Yeah.
If you get an error message, it does not sound like an operator error.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, does anyone have any other questions? Well, if not, maybe we'll just call it good for today, and then I'll get this uploaded to YouTube and post the link online in the Facebook group. And then we'll look at, I don't know, maybe in a couple weeks or something, try setting up another one of these. So
they're very helpful. I hope you do.
Yeah.
It's been nice to connect.
Yeah. Okay, well, nice seeing everyone, and we'll see everyone later.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
weekend.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
Steph,
Bye.
for staying
Bye.
up.